Hello gents. Today I am going to review 3 affordable backpacking stoves. Each of these stoves is an inexpensive stove that I was able to get off Amazon, and they are all Chinese knockoffs of more expensive and probably better built American versions of the same. If you'd like to get any of these on Amazon, in the description of this video I will put the many names that they go by, because each of these can be found with multiple different Chinese names on Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a review of each of these stoves, each of which uses a different source of fuel. And often when you see these comparisons done, people will test them out by seeing how fast they can boil a pot of water. Now, I can't think of anything more boring and stupid than testing a stove by watching how fast it boils water. Yeah, sure, it's practical, but it's really boring to watch. So instead of doing that, I'm going to set up each of these stoves, and I'm going to watch how fast they can make a can of this human excrement known as Coke explode. I'll place the Coke on top of each of the stoves, light it up, and we'll see how long it takes for the pressure to build inside and the Coke to explode. I think this is a much more useful test for you to know how you'd like these to work. So first let me show you each of these stoves. First one is a small alcohol stove. Lid comes off, and on this lid there's an adjustable ring that you can use to adjust the flame. I never use that. I always just let it go full blast. Has a screw off lid, and you simply pour your alcohol fuel right in there. I like to use heat. It seems to work really well. I pour that in there, just light it up, and after a minute when it gets warm you'll have blue flames coming out all around here. Now, one thing about this stove, it's the lightest and smallest of the group. Does not have a stand for putting a pot on top. So what you got to do is arrange rocks around it in such a fashion that your stove can just sit on top with a little bit of space between the top of the stove and your pot. So that's the first one. Second one, this is a wood burning gasification stove. The really cool thing about this one is you don't need to bring any fuel along. Comes in this nice mesh bag. This particular one is a Lixada brand. Again, you'll see it listed as multiple different names online, but let me show you how this one works. You're going to take your base, set it down, this is your middle section. This is where the fire is going to happen. And your bowl, or whatever you want to call it, this is for holding the fire. Place this inside the middle section and let it sit out the bottom like so. Then stick it on your base. Now, optionally, this one comes with a little bowl and it says you can do alcohol with it. I tried it, it doesn't work well at all, so I never use this. Then your top part with the arms that extend out for holding your pot. Place that on there. But you want to build a fire inside here first. Small pieces of wood, tinder, pine cones, whatever. The cool thing about this stove is this gasification process. When you got your fire going in here, the flames are going to get sucked into the dual walls, come out around the top, and re-burn the smoke that already burned once as kind of an afterburner, and very little actual smoke will come off of this. It's a cool process and it works pretty well. The third one I have here, this came as a set with some pots. This is a traditional fuel piezo ignition stove for backpacking. One way you know this is Chinese, the brand on this one is GK, but again comes in different names online. I love this little warranty card they gave me. Your satisfaction is our everlasting pursuit. Thank you very much, GK. And guess what? My satisfaction, your pursuit is not in vain, because I am satisfied with this. Again, it comes in a little mesh bag. You got a couple pots that hold the whole thing together, which is pretty convenient. Each of these pots has a fold-out handle. holds a gas canister inside, which is to hold that fuel canister in there. Even a big one like this one is pretty awesome. Your actual stove and igniter and everything is in this little orange box. You want to fold out these arms on top. And screw this directly onto your canister. It's got the piezo ignition, little sparker, and you can adjust the flame with this. This actually burns very hot. I almost always turn it down because it burns so hot, and it's a raging inferno. But now come out with me. I'm going to set all three of these up. We'll light them up, get them going, and see which one blows up the can of diarrhea the fastest. Okay, gents, all three stoves are going. Let's put our cokes on and see what happens. Well, the gas stove went first. And I didn't even have it hardly turned up at all. Let's get some more wood in here. Oh boy, we got action on both of them. Neither have popped yet, but they're both swelling. Woo! Woo! Okay, there's two down. Last up is our alcohol stove. Come on, baby. Whoa! That was a nice pop. All right, let's get a little scientific, okay? First, our canister fueled backpacking stove. It was the hottest and most intense flame. It went the fastest. The front bulged a little bit before the mouth blew open. Wasn't a very big explosion. Wasn't that impressive. Most of the coke stayed in the can, actually. Next up, our wood gasification stove. Why, it was a little hotter, so it was the medium one, and blew second, I noticed that the flame was going out, so I had to add some more fuel, add some more wood in there. When it started going out, it started smoking, and you could see it built up smoke on there. The rear of the can did not pop or bulge at all. The front completely bulged before the mouth finally blew open. And the explosion was a little bit better than the first one. A little louder, and most of the coke came out of the can. Then our alcohol spirit stove, it had the lowest heat. Obviously took the longest to build and build before it finally blew, but when it blew, it really blew. This can bulged completely in the rear and in the front before the front blew clean off. The mouth did not even open. When it blew, you can see it must have hit against something and jammed in that part there and dented in that part there as well. It was quite a loud pop. I don't know how well you could hear it in the video, but it sounded like a firecracker. It was pretty amazing. So I think based on what we've learned here, hopefully this has been helpful, and it can help you decide which backpacking stove you should buy. One last word. This video was not sponsored by Pepsi, but it really should have been. Pepsi, I'm talking to you.